So I have a new book to add to my 5 stars list, and it is called In Gad We Trust, A Tale Some by Josh Gad. If you don't know who Josh Gad is, he played Olaf in Frozen and Frozen 2, and he also was the originator of the role Elder Cunningham in the Broadway musical The Book of Mormon. And I'm not going to get into that right now. Um, so in this book, he is talking about his life and all the things that brought him to where he is today. And it's broken down into 4 books. The first book focuses on his childhood, his teenage years, and his college years, and all the things that have brought him to where he is today from the first part of his life. So his parents got a divorce when he was very young, and seeing his mom so upset, he just wanted to make her feel better. So he became this funny guy to make her smile and was telling jokes, and that kind of started it all off for him, because then mom gets him into this youth theater program, which then he kind of grows out of. So now he's trying to find something else in like middle school, high school, and he ends up in this research and debate team that I don't know much about this, so I could be completely wrong about this. I'm not going to be the best person to give you the information about it, but it has like a place, or it has a competition where you can also do dramatic pieces, you can do funny pieces, you can create your own piece, you can write and speak your own speech about a topic of your choosing, and he does really, really well with this. To the point where he actually like goes to nationals and wins. Or the first time he places pretty high, and then the second time he wins. And then his college years, becoming an actor through the Carnegie Mellon Acting Academy. I forget exactly the title of their program, and all that ensures shoes there at college life. So you really get to see where he starts off, and how where he starts off and all of the events of those years shape him into the man that he is now. The second book talks about him breaking into the industry, and it's very interesting because he talks about these people in college or part of the research and debate that become these names that we know and recognize, but they still struggle to break into the acting. He spent several years sleeping on people's couches, his friends' couches, in LA and New York, as he's trying to break into either Broadway or film and TV. And eventually he gets some roles, but they're small roles. And he does one of the initial roles that he talks about is his role in 21. And when he's reading about this, I'm like, wait a minute. I watched 21. I loved 21. I do not remember him being in 21. So I had to go look it up. And yeah, he was. He totally was. And I totally forgot he was in there. So yeah, there you go. So then it also talks he tells about his story trying to get a part of the Putnam County's 25th annual spelling bee on Broadway. Initially, he auditioned, and they're like, here, you can do the tour in LA. And he's like, no, I don't want that. I want to be in Broadway, so I'm going to turn you down. And that almost gets him to be, never again, we're never working with you, don't even try. But his persistence gets him the Broadway role. And then he talks about his time and how that shaped him into the actor that he was. He, of course, talks about Frozen, which is, that's usually, well, of course, I work with middle schoolers and little kids. So, if they're going to know Josh Gad, they're going to know him from Frozen. And then he also tells the story of Elder Cunningham, which is the role he originates in the Broadway show, The Book of Mormon. And I did not realize, there are a couple things I didn't realize. Let me tell you a couple. I did not realize how much of this role of Elder Cunningham is his role. Like, he was in this musical from pretty much the very beginning of the creation of this musical. Like, he was there from the start. I didn't realize that. So, like, when you're like, oh yeah, that's his role. No, really, that's his role. And it's also crazy to think about because he also tells how at one point he received a phone call where they're like, you know what, we're going to go in a different direction. And if they hadn't called him back to be like, no, we need you need to come back, and he said yes, that it could have been completely different because that's his role, that he made that role what it is. And it's just crazy to me. You don't realize sometimes when you see things on Broadway or you see things in the movie, you don't realize how much the actor has in creating that role. Whether they're in from the ground up or they're creating it and making it their own, you don't always realize it until you hear their story. And that's the same with Frozen. He was a part of the reeds from Frozen from when it was still called the Ice Queen and had a completely different storyline. And then they changed it all, but they still decided to bring him to play Olaf. And he tells the story about how he sings a song, and one of the, I think it was an animator or a writer or somebody, I forget exactly who, he saw them at like the water cooler or something or in the hallway. He's like, oh, how's it going? And they're like, oh yeah, everybody loved your song, but it got cut. No, it's not the song that he actually sings in the movie. It's a different song. But even how he comes to really portray Olaf as a character and that innocence and everything, like that really came from him. And it's just crazy to me to see like how different these characters really could have been if someone else had created them. That doesn't mean to say it would have been bad, it just would have been different. And I could really go on forever. This is going to be a long video, I'm sorry. So then you have book 3, which focuses on his journey into becoming an adult, into finding his love, the love of his life, getting married. And of course, this part is going to make me cry. His grandmother passed away like a week before his wedding, which heartbreaking. So there's that. His journey into parenthood, which was happening at the same time as him going on Broadway for the Book of Mormon. And he also gets into a discussion about his religion because he is Jewish, but his relationship with Judaism is not conservative. And he, you know what, just listen to it. The way he describes his journey with Judaism is beautiful. You know, it's so special. I could never capture his views and everything in a, quick video on TikTok. It's absolutely beautiful. Go check it out. He really gets into what it feels for him. And then book 4 focuses on, there's a little bit about talking about the pandemic in there, definitely, and all that he did during the pandemic. It focuses on talking about Frozen 2, which again, he's talking about how he really focused on creating Olaf more as a toddler and all that he gets into with that. He also talks he does talk a lot about a lot of different movies, but he does try to focus on the ones that have really um, focused on him in some way, shape, or form, changed him in some way, shape, or form. And one of the movies he talks about is Marshall, which is a movie he did with Chadwick Boseman regarding Thurgood Marshall and one of his court cases. And he gets into describing their beautiful friendship and how they would go on walks and discuss everything and anything, and just the heartache that he felt when the world lost this beautiful actor, amazing person way too soon. And I cannot tell you how many times I cried during this book. It was so beautiful, so moving. I knew I was going to laugh, but I didn't think I was going to cry as much as I did. And I loved every second of it, even though I was crying. And he also talks about his comeback to stage with Gutenberg the musical. And then, of course, he gets into the pandemic. And there's just so much in this book that was such an eye-opener for Josh Gad as an actor, but also Josh Gad as a person. And again, it was just so amazing. I'm like, I kind of want to buy the book, but I'm also kind of worried that it's not going to be the same just because I'm reading it and he's not reading it to me. But does it matter in the end? No, because it was still an amazing book. 5 stars. I have so much more I want to say, but I can't because it's already a 12-minute video. So please go read it. Happy reading.